Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Amateur Repair Time. Today we are going to work on this cool clock radio here. I picked this up at the flea market a couple weeks ago. I've never seen one quite like this, but it's nothing too incredibly special. I've seen things very similar to this that just had a different look, but this one just has a really cool look. And it is a Bulova. How cool is that? Everybody loves Bulova for their cool watches. So it's a clock radio. AM, FM, AFC. I always forget what that exactly stands for. Auto frequency control. Is that it? I don't know. But the problem is it looks like it has corrosion. And you know, the corrosion usually is from batteries. So I don't know why there is corrosion all over the outside of it, but it might be a little chore getting this thing to work. We may not be able to get it to work at all. If we can't, we'll finish it off in this video. What does Shango call it? EOL. We might EOL it. I hope not. I don't like that crap. I like trying to save them. So we'll see. Yeah, so it's got some corrosion on it. It's got a cool FM, AM little dial down there. I always just like how they choose to design these things. It's just interesting to me, the art of it, you know. I would love to hear this thing work again. What is this little 342 thing there? I guess that's an alarm of some sort. That's interesting. So we've got tuning off on. Is there something else for an alarm? Oh yeah, there's some stuff on the back. Okay, so let's see on the back. There's the bottom. Just a couple screws. I just noticed there's no cord. Does it only run on batteries? Like, what's up here? What's going on with this? It sure looks like it ought to take a power cord, doesn't it? We'll figure it out. I hope the whole inside's not rotted away. It sure is scary, isn't it? When you see corrosion on the outside, it makes you wonder what's the inside look like. Right? So this looks like it must hold it together. Ooh, it's loose. Set alarm, set time. Okay, so that's kind of typical, like you would just see on a regular alarm clock. And then automatic and manual. So let's see if I can finger loosen this thing. All right, how bad do you think it's going to be, folks? All right, so tell me, and I'm gonna rate it from 1 to 10, the damage assessment. Okay, so how bad do you think it's going to be whenever we open it? So 1 would be there's hardly any damage. It's just cosmetic. You pop the batteries in and you wouldn't even need to clean it up and it would be able to read the batteries if this is a battery one. It looks like it is. That's 1. 10 would be throw it in the trash. It's impossible to rebuild it, or there's no way you're going to be able to rebuild it. Why is this thing stuttering? What in the world? My lamp's going crazy. Look at that. Flash dance. So 10 would be it's just completely destroyed. It's ate up major parts of the circuit board where there's resistors falling off the board, stuff like that. What do you think? 1 to 10. Now, keep in mind, there's already corrosion visible on the outside of it. 1 to 10. I'm going to guess it's a 3. This is kind of cool. I've never seen one like this. Okay. Okay, those are the two knobs that are turnable from the back. I swear I didn't look at it, but I think that's a 3. That's a 3. That's not that bad. So this is a little needle file. Okay, so a significant problem would be is if these fall apart whenever I mess with them. Ah, they're strong. They're not going to fall apart. Now let's see if the wire is going to fall off. Is that going to break? Nope. It's fine too. Let's check the other ones. That one's not bad at all. So that would be like a 1. That would be like a 1. And I'm just making this up as I go, folks. This isn't like some official scale or something. Okay, that wire has broke. No big deal. Can be soldered back on. This, the other thing too is this box could be replaced. And this one could be replaced. You can see how they're held in. You could put new ones on it. I don't have new ones, but I could order new ones. But I don't think I need to. Yeah, that wire broke, but we can solder that back on. We can get creative with it. I think that's completely savable. And this board doesn't have any damage to it that I can tell. And, you know, it's of the era. I would not be surprised if it just works fine once you get power to it. Now, why are they using 2 different things of power? I guess it's one for the clock and one for the radio, but let me think. 1.5, I mean, are they all joined together? And that's just how they did it? I don't, that connects to there. And then it goes down, or it's going out the front, I guess, to the clock. How are they running a clock on 1.5 volts? I don't know. I don't know what that's up. I don't know what's up with that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get something on here so I don't mess up my beautiful towel. And then I'm going to get a wire brush and clean this up as best I can. And I'm going to hit it with some rubbing alcohol to try to clean it up even better. And we'll just see how good we can get her to look. All right. So I have hit it with this wire brush. Look, people, this is amateur repair time, okay? If you're looking for a professional job on this, you need to look elsewhere. So this is just the first cleaning. I'm just knocking off all the obvious, right? So this is what we're at, step 1. I'm feeling confident. This ain't my first rodeo, people. I've dealt with corrosion before. Remember, I work in a video game store. We see this all the time. Been there, done that. Okay, so we got broken wires all over the place. And I still need to clean this up a little bit. We got broken wires all over the place. So 1 is the one that broke here. So we'll put that back after we clean it all. That one's still fine. These are still fine. Then we have this one, and I was thinking, what in the world is that? It doesn't look like it goes anywhere, but then I started thinking. I was really using my brain. That's probably the antenna wire. I bet that even pulls off. Doesn't that look like it comes loose? Let's zoom. Yeah, that comes out of there, don't it? The wires just broke off of it. And I don't think we did it. You saw us take the back door off. Somebody else done did that. Someone else has hurt this baby. Yeah, so that must go on that pink wire, and you're supposed to unplug it whenever you take the back door off. This is strange to me. This is a strange little setup. It's big enough that I thought that it would take a power cord. It's probably 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches, something like that. Maybe 5 inches wide, 5.5 inches tall. So it kind of looked like it was like a little desk radio, but it's battery powered. I think we'll be able to get the radio going once we get the power right. That clock worries me though. You know, the clocks sometimes, those, I guess there's some kind of little electric motor. Sometimes those don't survive the years. It's probably been 50 years on this thing. We'll see if we can find a date on one of the, 64. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that this is a 64. Maybe. Is that from the 60s? This is the game I play in my head. Is this from the 90s? No, much older than that. Does it look like something from the 80s? No, it does not. It looks older than that with this kind of stuff going on. Does it look like it's from the 70s? It's kind of got that atomic look, which is 60s or 50s, you know, but it's not the 50s. It's not that old. Early 60s. Yeah, I would guess mid 60s. That's probably the date, 64. That's probably what that means. So there may be one on one of the capacitors. If we look carefully, we may be able to find a date on one of those. Okay, so I'm going to get some rubbing alcohol. What do they call it? Is it rubbing alcohol? I'm going to get some alcohol and some Q-tips and clean this up and see what that does. I think usually that cleans it up much better. All right, so isopropyl alcohol. I always call it rubbing alcohol. I know it's not the same thing, but it's easier for me to say rubbing than isopropyl. I got it at Publix. Where was this crap made? It's just water, right? Isn't it just water? Inactive ingredient, water. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, used the Q-tip, went to town on it, and it's much better. Not perfect, but that was about as good as I could get it. What I've done before in the past, if you have one that's just roached like this, is you can solder it. Like you can put some solder to solder this wire to the base. Because the problem you're going to get is if there's corrosion where that wire touches this copper plate, it won't conduct. Oh, and then I also noticed, as I was looking through here, check this out. They thought of everything. Radio battery. Clock battery. All right, so I think I've got that one clean enough to work. So I'm going to slide a battery in it and see if the clock does anything. So I slid a battery in. Let's see. How would we ever know? I wonder if they make noise if it's a... It's moving. It is definitely moving. Keep watching, you'll see it. don't believe me, do you? Okay, let's see. Maybe I'm crazy. Let's set it. Let's see if we can set it. Okay. Ooh. Okay, we'll set it on one of the lines. Yeah, it ain't working. It ain't moving. Well, that was a big letdown. I could have swore it was moving. All right, now so here's the next technical thing you do. You move the battery. So we're gonna roll the battery around. Now I could get the multimeter out. All right, I got to check it with the multimeter, and I don't know how they're going to run a clock with one battery. I mean, that kind of, it's hard to believe it doesn't need the other four. They're kind of wired. Like if you look, okay, see the red wire here? So it goes to there, and then it connects to this red wire, which goes into the clock. Okay, but there's also a white wire I don't know where the white wire is connected, but this yellow wire comes up here, connects, and then goes also into the clock. I mean, it's labeled, but I don't know that it'll work with one battery. Okay, so I'm going to clean up these next. All right, so I finished cleaning that up the best I could, and I busted out my multimeter, and it's good. So we've got 1.6 volts from the red wire to the white wire. So if you look down here, they're using like a little junction here. So I didn't check on the actual battery. I checked from the wire to the wire. Okay. And then on this one, it's a big hot mess too. But it starts down here, which is where that yellow wire came from. So I checked from here. I still need to get that a little bit. I didn't get anything on that yet. I need to try to clean that up as good as I can. But I checked from there to there, and I got 1.6 volts. And then I checked from there to there, and I got like, 3.2 or whatever, 3 point whatever. And then I checked from there to there, and I got 4.8 or whatever. I think it was almost 5. So basically, they're connected in series. And then to here, I'm getting like 6.5 volts out of 4 batteries. So all 5 of these batteries are fine. They're connected as they should be. So I haven't tried to turn it on yet. And the clock is definitely not working. Make sure nothing's going to short out in the back if it tries to come on. All right, tuning. Let's set it on AM since we have the AM antenna inside of it. AM, and let's see if she'll do anything. I don't know that I can tell anything's going on. Come on, baby. Well, it seems just completely dead. Well, the good news is we're going to be able to clean the bezel on the front because I had to take it all the way apart. The bad news, I haven't found anything wrong with it yet. I'm thinking maybe the switch. So I've taken this little plate off the switch, which allows me to get to kind of a little bit of the internals of the switch. we're going to spray some contact cleaner in there and then work it back and forth, see if that does anything for us. I did disconnect the speaker and then tested the ohms, and it's testing at 8 ohms, which is not impedance, but it's close enough. And then I soldered it back. So basically, if you check it in circuit, it'll read almost a dead short usually on most radios. But I disconnected it, and this is measuring 8 ohms, so yeah, it's probably working. And it looks fine. So that wasn't it. I thought maybe we just, weren't getting any volume at all because of that. Now, what I could do is start recapping it, but I wish I had a way to inject a signal. I don't have a signal injector. I actually do, but I've got some, it's like a huge one. I don't know how it works. And I know you can kind of just mess around and make one. Now that I can get to everything, I might just put the batteries back in it and then just press around with my hand to see if I can find an area where there's an actual amplified signal. Well, unfortunately, when I measure the voltage, I'm getting 6.68 on the board. But the problem is I'm getting 6.68 everywhere on the board. Everything you test has the same voltage. I think I see the problem. There's no ground. Like there's only, the voltage is connected to the potentiometer, that's the volume pot, but the ground's not connected anywhere. So the ground connects over to that, where I was saying there's corrosion, but the only other thing that it goes to is it goes to this. So if there is a bad ground between here, wherever that is going to on the other side of that clock, and this radio, nothing would work, which is exactly what we're getting. So yeah, I've got 6 volts on the board, but that's checking it from here to there. That's not actually connected to this, especially now that I've taken it loose. So I need to figure out how the ground gets on this board and then set up a jumper wire and see if that gets us any kind of response. If it had a lot of corrosion on whatever the ground is, it would completely kill everything. I'll bet the ground problem's right there, like where the one wire connects to the other. Deeper and deeper we go. So this is the damnedest design I've ever seen. Now you saw what I'm trying to point out. The ground from the batteries that says radio runs into the clock. That's the only place it goes. So it attaches to this little strip. I wonder if that little screw is supposed to do it. It attaches to this strip, which has a piece that's riveted on right there. Okay, that is attached to the side of the clock right here. Now, it doesn't touch anything. So there is no connection from the ground to anything except where it runs into that clock. You saw that. Okay, so it runs inside the clock. I have taken the clock apart. Now, we may be able to fix it. Let's see if the balance is broke or anything. The balance is not broke. The hairspring is fine. So I don't know. There's something going on there, What the hell is that? Nope, that's designed like that. Okay, so the clock is a different thing. We'll figure that out. But look at this design. So that ground wire from the battery runs in here, and then it solders to that pin. It's the yellow wire. It solders to that pin that maybe is just attached to this frame, which would ground maybe the faceplate. Well, when I checked that continuity, there was no continuity between that and the faceplate. So the faceplate was not grounded, right? So then, I suppose, the faceplate is touching this, which would ground that. That's plastic. So how the hell are they getting the ground to this board? What am I missing here? There's one That's not touching anything. How the hell are they doing it? How are they getting a ground over to this board? Look, there's no connections to this board except this and the antenna wire there. That's it. Now, there is one other little thing here. What the hell is this? I don't know what that is. So I suppose one of these anchors was what was grounding it. I don't know, just guessing. Maybe this plate, see, the plate would have been touching there, but that's not grounded. All right, so if I can find out where the ground entered the board, I can just run a jumper from there to there and that would fix the whole thing, but I don't get it, obviously. All right, so I've tore it into a million pieces, and if you look really close, it's hard to tell, but there is a trace that goes all the way around the outside of the board, and they have been very careful to solder that screw to the trace. So that's the ground, which is connected to this metal bar on the bottom that the pots are connected to, and that the dial assembly or whatever is connected to. So what I've done is I put the voltage is attached to the pot. So the ground, I have just put a jumper from the ground of the batteries straight to the metal case of that. And I'm hearing something now. So we're going to try to, I'm hearing static. So we're going to try to tune it in and see if anything will tune in. I think we're on AM. Oh yeah. This must be FM.
Jennifer, now's the perfect time. First in the mix, and I want to thank you for listening.
621 FEMA. That's 1-800-621.
It's your last weekend to enter. Brought to you by
Charlotte's best mix of the 90s, 2000s, and today.
Mix 1079.
That's a little bit off. Okay, and keep in mind, that's with no, this is the antenna. So throw it over to AM. And you know my test is always to see if I can get 650 in. Here in Charlotte, we have a huge channel at 1110. It'll probably be so loud we can't even handle it.
Thank you.
Possession is key, and at this point, it just has to be some movement through the midfield.
They're really loud. loud. It's just that it's a clear channel station. It's night right now, and it's 4 miles from here.
But for his honesty as well. The 103 Philly's 7th straight loss. Encouraging you to get on the road. 49. Defended his support for tariffs and made quick references to England. Broom, 31 points, 14 rebounds, NH7.
It's a great way for people to learn more about what we offer and to be...
Okay, so there is 6:50
The
a.m.
#1 audio company.
6:50 a.m. is WSM out of Nashville. Probably still playing the Grand Ole Opry, maybe. But the channel just above it is a sports channel at like 680, I think.
Radical. Israel, there is still great demand. The Vatican's going to take sunshine. A few more comments.
680.
Maybe were lost around the stadium that fell out of somebody's pants or something. So we actually got bullpen, and we felt shaky about that. You guys have him as a starter. He couldn't make our rotation right now. So we're gonna have the no hats tour. And I remember I was probably 11, 12 years old, and I got to see Travis Tritt and Marty Stewart perform. Just a few
So they're talking
months
about country. So this must be 650.
But I'm from USA. I saw them both perform. Weird kind of way it was a blessing in disguise. Back in the early 90s. Travis Tritt is our spotlight artist tonight. We got a couple more Travis songs as we celebrate not only his birthday back on February 9th, but also his Opry anniversary, which is February 29th, 1992. And since there is no February 29th this year, we're celebrating tonight. More Travis Tritt, plus again, that Shenandoah song, Next to You, Next to You.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be a DXer. We're actually getting all kinds of channels. Okay, so I need to figure out, though, how they intended the ground to get to that plate. I don't get it. The ground goes up into here on that pin. Then what the hell does that do? It don't even make any... Why would they do that? We're about to get somebody from Bulova on the phone. So it's the yellow wire. What are they doing? I just don't understand why they would do it that way. All right, so yeah, so if I can't figure out how to get it to work as originally intended, I will just put a jumper from the battery pack over to the where we've got it now. You just solder a wire to it. So it won't be that big of a deal. But that may be, though, why the clock's not working, too, you know. So I'm going to just keep looking at it, see if I can figure out the original intent, and then if we need to just do some jumpers or something. Okay. The whole thing is, it's the freaking alarm. The alarm was set because of the way this was set. So they have it rigged up some way where... If I check continuity, there's continuity between here, this metal plate, which is attached to this metal face, and these studs. Ooh, the studs that hold the thing in. Several of the studs are connected to that plate through what I thought was that plastic front, but whatever. Somehow they're conducting electricity through it. It's not for me to know. I guess I'm gonna take it apart though, because I gotta clean it. Okay, so the ground connects to that, or should connect to that, and then that connects to this plate, which grounds the radio. The radio works fine, but the ground is just not connected. So why is the ground not connected? It's because the alarm was turned on, and the way the thing works is you leave it on with the volume wherever you want it, and then whenever the alarm gets around to wherever the alarm's supposed to go off, somehow this connects that ground to this faceplate. And the way I figured it out was I checked the wire, checked resistance between the wire and the faceplate, and it was not connected. But then as you turn the time around to the alarm, you hear a little click, and whenever you hear the click, now you're connected, the ground is connected to the faceplate. So that's just the way that they worked the alarm. This on the back says automatic turned one way, and it says manual turned the other way. So I guess that's supposed to disconnect the alarm setup so that the little switch is always connected to the plate, or the little whatever that is always connected to the plate, so that it's just a manual radio. But it wasn't right. Okay, so I've also put a battery in this part. And it has 1.6 volts present at the white wire and the red wire, between the white wire and the red wire. But the little clock is not doing anything. So I'm going to do a little research and see if I can figure out if there's anything I can do with that. Maybe it needs oiled, but I cannot get the balance to keep spinning. Look, we're merging the clock repair and the watch repair stuff. I'm not great at either one of them. So it's got 1.6 volts on it right now. And see how it just it'll stop. So I'm sure the way this thing works is with some kind of magnetism. But it won't keep going. It could be too, since I'm sitting on the face, that it is just stopping it because the hands are stopped. But if I hold it up in the air, it does the same thing. So I'm going to see if I can do a little research on this Bulova movement and see if anybody's talking about how to get it going again. Usually on a clock movement, now this one's a little different because it's it's electric. But usually on a clock movement, there's only 3 things that can go wrong. One, something's missing or broken. It doesn't look like anything's missing or broken on here. Missing or broken. 2, something is worn so bad that it just cannot run. So that would be something like the teeth are worn down or something. That's almost impossible. That's never really the problem, but it could be the problem. And then 3, there's dried up oil and the thing won't turn well because the oil is turned to glue. So it needs cleaned. So it's probably it needs cleaned, but I'm not too sure I want to rip this thing apart. There are a ton of gears in it too. Look at all that. Pretty complex. The balance isn't broken though. I mean, it does spin around and it seems like it's still balanced. And so the balance staff I don't think is broken, and the hairspring looks fine. I think what happens is voltage comes through these little coils to create some kind of magnetic something that kicks it around. On a watch, you usually have a mainspring, and just the power from the mainspring pushes the gears and, gives enough inertia to the tuning fork that the balance keeps going back and forth as it hits the tuning fork, which makes it all work. But on this one, I think the way they're doing it is they're sending voltage through these little coils to send it, and then back, and then back, and then back. It probably switches back and forth somehow or something. So it could be that these just all burn up. It also could be that is a resistor, that red there, and that the resistor screwed up or something. So I'm gonna see if I can do a little investigation on it and see if anybody in the world has ever fixed it and then typed online what they did to fix it. Okay, so I have completely disassembled it. The only thing I didn't do was take the speaker out, but I unsoldered it. So the lens, I could have just popped off from the front, but the whole thing needs to be cleaned. So I'm gonna try to clean it up as best as I can and start putting it all back together. I tried to find anyone alive that had ever fixed a clock like that and then told people online how to do it, and it's never happened in the history of society, apparently. I can't find anything about them. If you type quartz clock repair, you get all those little plastic crappy ones that are even worse than this, right? So that's not really that helpful to me, although it's a similar design, but it's, you know, this one's a different beast. So I don't know about the clock. We're still gonna mess with it a little bit, but I can't see anything wrong with it, but it's not working, obviously. But I'm gonna clean everything back and put it all back together, clean it up piece by piece, and then get it as good as I can, and then get the board mounted back in it, and then that clock can be the last thing to go in. Okay, so this is me getting them back together. I took the battery packs that I had cleaned up and I put them in the ultrasonic cleaner. And it really did a good job on them. It didn't get them new or anything, but it got rid of most of the corrosion that was left. You can see a little bit left there. But most of it came off just fine. I probably could have put it in another 10 minutes and it would have got rid of that. I didn't put any of the screws in, but yeah. And then I simplified this thing over here. The yellow wire was going to here and then to here, so I just ran it to there. And then the white wire was going to a post there and then into the clock, so I just ran it straight. Like it was coming out of the clock, I just ran it straight to the battery. And then the red wire was coming out of the battery to a post there, and then over to here, I just ran it straight to the battery. All of this I got mounted back, and I was talking about putting a jumper on the ground. I'm not going to do that now that I know how the thing actually works. So basically there was probably not much wrong with it. And we haven't fixed much. All we've done is clean it up a little bit and clean up the battery compartment. So I'm going to put the batteries back on it, plug the antenna back in, which is hanging here somewhere. Plug the antenna back in, and I've cleaned up the front, and we'll see if the radio works. And the clock is still, the jury's still out on that. If somebody can tell me how to troubleshoot that era of quartz clock, that would be great. Hold the phone. Everybody stop what they're doing. This is very important. Okay. So this is the clock one. Radio battery, 1.5 volt pin light. Okay. That's not what this says. It says clock battery, 1.4 volt, ZM9. That's a different type of battery. I think that's a longer lasting battery. So, a regular battery will work. However, can you see the problem? A pin light battery is made where there is a little bump on the positive side, and the negative side goes on the little reel, the little spool. Well, that's how I mounted the battery up here. But I mounted the battery backwards. Holy crap. And I don't mean, it's not the wires or anything. Look how I didn't move these. That was in that same position. But because it used a different battery, it doesn't have the same construction. You know, a AA battery looks like this. There's a little bump. That's the positive side. And I'm just used to that. So you put the negative side on the little coily part, and you put the bump the other way. So I didn't even check. I wonder if have I got the whole freaking thing backwards too? I think I've got this all backwards too. Oh, Lord. Look, I've got the positive of this one now running to the ground. I got to reverse these two wires. Anyway, we're going to figure it out. But on this one, I didn't mount it like that. I had the battery mounted in backwards. So the clock may work. It may be that I just had the battery in backwards. Okay, let me reverse the wires on this one. So the positive is here and the negative's down here. And then, oh, wait a minute. Is that right? Negative. Yeah, so that's the negative. And that's the positive. I've got to reverse these two wires, and then we'll make sure that the radio still works. And then for the finale of the video, I'll put the freaking battery in correctly and see if the clock will actually come back to us. Keep your fingers crossed. All right, folks, I got it all put back together. Unfortunately, the clock hasn't moved yet, so I thought I was on to something there. I wasn't on to nothing. Got it all back together. Looks good. What you think? That's a really nice looking little radio. So let's try it out a little bit.
Down Manitoba. Yeah. All right.
We're on AM. Boy, it's got plenty of volume. You kind of got to turn it off and back on, though, sometimes. I don't know if it's overdriving it because it's too loud or what.
Literally everybody? Generally, scientists at the top of the list.
Let's see if we can get 650.
But he did see the 670 at the scores. Zelensky speaks like 4 or 5. Jimmy Butler did not lost her entire arm on Social Security. However, we do still see. Put in the work. I just don't get into that. 888-808-1019.
You could use an alignment, I'm sure, but it picks up all kinds of stuff.
How can I tell them that I'm afraid of the dark?
That must be 650.
And memories that
But watch the volume.
a new broken heart. I fill up their glasses, make them all feel at home.
Like, it won't get very quiet. And if you play with it enough, you lose all the volume. So there might be a problem with the pot. I sprayed it with contact cleaner, but if you turn it off and then back on, it comes back. But you can't get it real quiet. I would say on a normal radio, that's like a 3.
Offer him more money. I would have for Republicans. I ain't this old, but I mean, I think if you go
where you want to listen, we're here for you. Zoomer Radio, the original greatest hits.
Zoomer Radio.
Position to dictate that. Remember this. I'm not here.
Route 390.
Moi, j'ai écrit quelques années.
Russell and Vin. Rather feebly.
I'm Hillary Stewart.
I lost my claim from walls, cold, etc. The others.
So that was 1110, our local channel.
Of carrying
There's some music up in this area somewhere. That's at the top of the channel. So I can't turn it way down. It won't do it. But it'll go way up. So it's as if the volume goes, instead of 0 to 10, it goes 3 to 10. Let's try FM. Oh, that's the volume again. See how I killed it just by turning the volume down? Now it won't come back. Let's turn it off, back on.
Tickets on sale with all Ticketmaster.
Doctor, give me the news. I got it. He restores my family and is determined to live by it.
Woman to headline Coachella.
I don't mind what he's got. Sectors holding this country together.
You fit in the whip to the flight to the sky, never down, baby, check my stats. Truth is open.
Meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800. Come off the board early.
So it works really good. It's just it's a little bit too loud like me, and the clock doesn't work. But the clock is easily accessible from the back. It's really easy to get to that. So hopefully I can figure out how to fix that type of clock and fix the thing. Now, I will say that I tried to find the schematics for it. I couldn't find them. I saw one person said they had them on a site and they wanted $22 for them. So I think I paid $5 for this clock, this radio. And they want $22 for the piece of paper with a couple drawings on it. I ain't doing that. I'm not paying $22 for that. I spent $5 on the radio. And then the schematics would be $22. Even if I fixed it where it was perfectly working, I would not end up with a $27 radio. And that's not counting shipping. So we won't be doing that.
Wanted sex.
Where's my oldies? No oldies tonight, folks.
You show the light, don't be.
Light for me. Figures up ahead, moving in the trees.
The more you listen to your kids,
Baby, I dare you.
I like it a lot. I like the look of it. That's a cool little radio. So I like that. I'm glad I picked that up. It's worth $5. Okay, folks. So if you have any idea how to fix a clock like that or what I should check, let me know. If I'm using the wrong battery and it matters, let me know that too. Because the battery I'm using is probably 1.6, 1.65 volts. You know, it's a brand new battery. And that said 1.4. I wonder if it matters. It might be that if you put one that's too high, it just doesn't do anything. I don't know. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. And I guess I will see you on the next one. Now, if you like these, 60s model cheapo radios, a while back, I fixed that Channel Master one right there. That's right. These props in the back, they're not just, they all have a little story to them. Huh? You didn't realize that, did you, maybe? So that Channel Master, maybe we could go back in time to a time when the Channel Master didn't work and I tried to get it to work. So check out this video. We'll see you next week here on Amateur Repair Time.